Keith, we've known each other for about 25 years, and during that time, one of your major leisure activities has been to support what I think is the best preserved steam railway in the country, Severn Valley. And you've worked on there in many guises. What's this passion for railways?
My passion goes back, I suppose, to a very small child when my mother used to take me down to the nearest railway bridge to watch the trains go by. Maybe that started it, maybe it didn't, I don't know. But then I got more interested in model railways, and I built a model railway in my roof for my two sons. That was the excuse anyway. And then when they grew up a bit and the family grows up, your career moves on and you look at other things. And one day I was at Hampton Road and I saw the signalman in the box, and I thought I would like to do that one day. And I went on a training course and I became a signalman on the Severn Valley Railway, and I've done that ever since 1979.
Not content with working on a full-size gauge, which is 4'8.5",
Correct.
1.43 metres, you've gone right down to a much smaller gauge.
I wanted a garden railway. I've gone to 1/19 of the full-size thing.
So that makes the track how wide?
32 millimetres or 1.25 inches in English.
Why did you choose that?
It represents narrow gauge, something like the Festiniog or the Talith-Flynn or something like that. It had got to be fairly big. If you were modelling the main line, I should say, on this, it would be so small that you wouldn't be able to get all the bits in that you needed to run it.
Yes, especially if it's steam driven.
Yes, because it has to have a boiler.
Yes.
It has to have a firebox. It has to have lubrication, valve gear, a fire, oil, water, and radio control. All of this has to be fitted onto the loco. And as you can imagine, radio control doesn't sit awfully comfortably with mechanical, oily, wet machines. I got some pseudo diesels which are actually battery electric, but I got genuine steam, controlled by radio, so I don't have to be fiddling about in the cab.
Let's start with the engines rather than the rolling stock.
Yes.
How do they come to you? Do they come in a kit form?
No, they're ready built. Building a steam locomotive is quite beyond my competence.
Can we start one up?
Yes, one of the diesel locos, which is going to take us on a trip round the line. When it moves off, you'll hear the brakes come off first of all. Air brakes.
Now it's going round the back of a Schwazier, shortly to reappear. Awful lot of leaves around there, sir.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the station here. It's called Lawnside.
Yes.
And it's got an island platform
yes.
with tracks either side.
Yes.
And a loving couple sitting on a bench.
Yes.
In full daylight.
Yes.
They're a bit close, I would have thought.
They are, but they're not bothered about the trains either.
I see. They've got other things in their mind.
But there's a grandmother and her grandson sitting on the bench waiting for the train to arrive.
And who's that bloke on the left?
Well,
With a
he's
1914-18 moustache.
Yes, he's actually one of our permanent way chaps, and he'll be going down the line on the next train to cut some of the trees back. I do get leaves on the line, which is more like British Rail, but unfortunately my leaves relatively large, of course, and they can cause derailments rather than just slipping. Believe it or not.
And there's a hut down there. Is that a plate layer's hut?
It's a plate layer's loo.
You think of everything. Well, to do the steam engine, we've had to come into your shed.
So the first job we've got to do is to charge the gas cylinder. Now we need to fill the boiler with water, which we do with a special sort of syringe. Light up the engine. We just let the gas The burner, the gas will stabilise. That's good.
Well, you are genuinely oiling it with a
Yes,
can.
yes.
So now we wait.
We wait.
It's now steamed up, and off it goes. Well, now, Keith, what's the joy you get from operating it, and how often do you do it?
I often run a diesel in the evenings just to, you know, after supper or something, in the summer anyway, just to run it round and do a bit of shunting and one or two things like that. But the steam is the real pleasure, getting the steam engine.
But it's so solitary.
Well, it isn't entirely. I've got at least two friends who come. We have a regular meeting once a month, and once I go to his place and he comes here and with a pal of his, and we have three of us going.
So is it there now, your layout? Is it finished as a development?
It's complete but never finished.